Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Pyromancer here, and welcome back to my channel, or to my channel for the first time, if it's your first time visiting. Hope you're having a great day. Today we're talking about drama. Talking about some of the shit that's been going on over the last couple days. If you're not familiar, you don't have to get involved. You don't have to watch this or give a fuck. But there's always drama in the Final Fantasy community, it seems. And no matter how much people say they hate drama, there's so many people that still can't help but comment on the drama.
People love drama. Everybody that says, if there's somebody who actually hates drama, you can tell because they don't talk about it.
Occurs. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I watched a Xenos Vex video. Alright, and this video is not going to be me shitting on Zeems, just so you guys know. Before anyone loses their mind, just hear me out. I've taken some extra time to consider this and hear some different perspectives. And have some things recontextualized for me. Because what I am seeing from many people was that it's kind of a misunderstanding what's going on. And I'm not afraid to talk about these things. Like I said live on my stream, I knew that people would clip things and take them out of context, which has been happening. And that's why...
This happens all the time with clips, and it happens to everybody. I actually hate the fact that the way that clipping works and the way that people make... like clips of things, because it can only be like 1 minute, most ideas that aren't just like yes or no can't really be condensed into 1 minute. Or if they can, you have to spend some time ahead of time thinking about how to say it in a concise way.
You gotta go on and talk like this now. So basically in his
Clip
video,
chips, yeah.
Zeems is going over the new Lalafell chair thing. And I want to make this very clear right from the rip. For me, this is not about the chair. It's really not. But it's important contextually for the whole situation to talk about this fucking chair. And in Zeems' video, he has some takes that I did not agree with live on my stream. I'd been watching other Xenos Vex videos before I got to this video. And like I said on my stream, was having a good time.
That's right.
I don't think that he is a bad person.
I'm not
or
even
anything
kidding.
like that. I do not hate him. I do not want him to be canceled. That is not that's not the point. I took a personal issue with what he said, and I got upset about it. Especially if I am misunderstanding part of what he's saying, which is what I want to address today. I think I did. I mean, I know I did at this point. But yeah, this is not about the chair. This is about how we group people together and treat them, and make generalizations about them. But there is another side to this that also has to be addressed, and that's where does this idea come from? In this video, he's talking about this Lala chair and talking about the forum posts by these NA players, most of which are Lalafell players. And this is like, probably like 20-minute video, I believe. Straight up, being completely honest, I think I watched probably 14 or 15 minutes of said 20-minute video, so I did not watch the whole thing through. I got irritated. Enough.
He got mad enough, and then he went to the comments, the same as most people do. Yep, absolutely. I wish that YouTube comments would show how much of the video a person actually watched.
At that point that I just didn't want to watch it anymore.
Yeah, that would be great. Like, you know how Steam has that?
And I also did make the remark on my stream, you know, you guys send him, you don't get the full context, you know, he doesn't get the whole thing at the same time. You know, neither did I. So I'm going to have to accept that. Here's the deal. Things got a little bit heated. I didn't even know Zeems was streaming. I don't give a fuck. You know, he does his thing. Basically, he started getting linked clips. Or not clips. I think it was actually just a VOD. The VOD from my channel. At a certain period where, of course, and I knew this was going to happen, dude. And I said this on my stream. Sometimes I make not good analogies. Sometimes analogies that I make are hyperbolic for a reason. So if I compare the way that people treat
this is like a communication thing, and this is one thing that I've learned is that on the internet, if you make an analogy between two things that are not equal, even if there's the same core idea behind them, people won't understand it and they will get mad because in their mind you're comparing the two things and you're saying they're the same. Even though that's fundamentally not what an analogy is. That is just the way that it's communicated to a large audience. Like, remember whenever I said that the Andrew Tate thing was like how Martin Luther King got like focused by the government or something like that? And people made the comparison. They said that I was, you know, likening Andrew Tate to Martin Luther King. And this was clearly not what I meant. But that's what people think. Because if you make an analogy, people will equate the two things. And it's just that simple. They don't understand the analogy's mechanics. No, they do understand the mechanics. And they don't care. Because they hear something they don't like, and then they just immediately go with it. You see what I'm saying?
You know, a person.
And like my experience is that you can't make an analogy between two things that are too different, because people will get too caught up in the difference between the things and not understand what you're trying to communicate. And this is, again, like trying to communicate to a large audience. Obviously, if you're talking to one person or something like that, it's not a big deal. But what I'm saying is that, like, it does happen whenever you're making a video like that. You can't make bad analogies and expect people to accept it either. I don't remember what his analogy was.
Person to like real life racism. I'm doing that because racism is something that literally every fucking person understands. But the bottom line is, it was a terrible analogy. I'm gonna have to take my L on that. It's not,
and that's what happens, right? It's like it's not like, I can see what a person is, what he's saying whenever he says, like, obviously, you know, video game racism, it's kind of the same as real life racism, because it's like fundamentally the same thing. It's a group of people. Like, if you look at it at its very core, there are similarities. But again, the problem is that because the two things are so different, people are going to interpret them as he's saying that it's the same exact thing. Does that make sense? Yeah, liking a funny chair to real life racism, worst absolute L take if I've ever heard one. Well, see, and this is the problem. That's not what he did. You see, like, and that's not what he did. And people are doing it in chat right now. Because, as I said, if you are communicating to an audience, there's a lot of people out there who are waiting and just like so fucking anxious at the idea that they can be smarter than the person who's talking. So the moment that you say something, even if it's right, if it sounds wrong, it is wrong. It's that simple. I think that's actually the best way to say it. If it sounds wrong, it is wrong. And it's not about whether you're right or you're not right. That's it.
Triggered by buzzwords. Racism. Yes, and yes, exactly. I do understand what is racism, but
and I will also argue that it is a mistake in the same way that the Martin Luther King analogy was a mistake on my end. It is a communication mistake, because you, as an effective communicator, should try to alleviate or remove any noise that's going to get in the way with people understanding what you're trying to say. And if you say something that is like, it is hyperbolic to the extent that people focus on the hyperbolic nature of it, and a reasonable person could have predicted this would have happened beforehand, you're not a bad person for making the analogy, but you did fuck up with communicating. Does that make sense?
This is right. This isn't this. Even if it was the races in the game, this isn't racism. And here's the reason why. This has nothing to do with, while it is linked to the Lalafell players in the race, this is more about why in the fuck are there people out there, especially in the North American audience, it would seem, like Westerners, I don't know, we have a habit of just thinking of the worst fucking things. So like, oh, you play a Lalafell? Oh, you must like kids. Like, why the fuck is that?
That's what happens, because people are conditioned to react that way through media. Most media is reactionary and vitriolic. So anytime that you have something like that, the Western audiences are conditioned to react in the worst possible way. We saw that with the Mr. Beast video. We saw that with other things. And why is that? It's because all of our media is built around division. All of our media is built around creating artificial, battle lines between groups of people and then making them fight over those battle lines. That's what all of it is. So people will always, and also what does that do? That creates a massive amount of distrust of everybody else. They want men not trusting women. They want black people not trusting white people not trusting black people, older people not trusting younger people not trusting older people. It's bad. It's really fucking bad. And the problem is that media pushes this so hard. And it's nothing, this isn't like a mainstream Illuminati analogy. These are just simply people working towards what's the most beneficial. Because that divisive content is extremely fucking popular. And a lot of people watch it. Like, go look at videos about different, like, hot button issues. They're super popular. So people just acting in their own best interest will create this content on their own. And I think the Western audience has just done that a lot more. So that's why people go to these extremes. It's because the entire culture, is built around extremes. It's not built around the middle ground. It's built around having an extreme and then painting the other person's extreme as being worse than yours. People thrive on drama. Yes.
Thought process. Like, that's the problem here, more so than anything. And also how you let that affect you when it's clearly fucking a heinous, weird thing to say to somebody, and how you should handle that. So that's what this is about.
Yeah.
There's a point he's trying to make in his video.
Somebody says Pyro's gaslighting us. We saw what he said and how he said it. His description of events now does not align with reality. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's that much different.
And that point is something that I think I misinterpreted. And I've seen some clips. There are some clips on my channel that have not been deleted because, they're titled misinterpretation. Pyro misinterprets Zeems in 1, 2, or whatever. And I watched them and I was like, okay, like, am I misinterpreting what he's saying here? Because when I hear it back, there sounds like actually there could be some misinterpretation of what he was saying. Let me just make this clear. From what I understand now, what Zeems is trying to say in the video is if people are going to make claims about Lala players and call them like pedos and shit like that, that is obviously fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And if you are comfortable in yourself and you don't do that, why would you get so fucking defensive about it? You have to consider
That's the worst argument possible. I actually don't agree with that at all. Because, like, if somebody goes and they call you a pedo, of course you're going to get extremely defensive about that. Because that's, like, the worst thing that you could call somebody. It's like if you go to, if you go to PetSmart and somebody goes and says that, like, oh, do you beat your dog? No. Like, it's insulting. Of course people are going to get defensive. It's like the worst thing that you can be.
Like, the whole picture here. If someone says that to you in the game and is harassing you, block them and report them.
Yes.
That's what you should do.
Yes.
You should not engage and try to defend yourself or talk about...
You should never try to defend yourself. I think that in almost all cases, defending yourself from somebody saying something that's negative about you is probably a waste of time. I have never made a Reddit comment defending myself and not thought, like, a day later that I wasted my time. Not a single time. Every single one of them has been a waste of my time.
That obviously that's a heinous thing to say to somebody. Move on. And while blocking and, moving on is one thing that can help you to kind of like get away from that person, it doesn't change the fact that there still are fucked up people out there that are making these accusations and saying things like this to Lala players that simply just flat out do not deserve it. Like,
well, it doesn't matter because, like, if you report them, there's probably not that many of them, and once people start getting banned for saying stuff like that, everybody else will stop saying it. That's just how it is. Like, everybody said that, like, oh, wow, like, Elon Musk, like, let's see, like, oh, and now everybody's going to try to impersonate other companies. Elon Musk banned a few people. Nobody's impersonating Elon Musk anymore. That's just what happened.
Guys, they picked a fucking race in a fucking MMO in a video game, dude. Like, it literally does not matter. And that's not to say that the feelings of the people who, like, don't want to get wrapped up in this are invalid. Like, the people who still have to fucking deal with that shit as Lala players who have not done anything, it's fucked up. It's fucked up. But once again, it goes back to the root issue, and it's like, really, it's just, I think we're really off of focus at this point. There's definitely weirdos that go.
This is about a chair in a video game.
Around looking to start shit with players that play certain races, which is fucking cringe.
I think that is cringe for sure, but I also think that, like, you know, if you were an ERPer, would you feel comfortable doing ERP with a Lalafell? I think a lot of people would probably say no. So we can say that it is all a video game and it's not real, etc. But when you get down to brass tacks, they do look like kids. They're described as kids in the lore. And it's not because they're short, it's their physiology. So I think people being uncomfortable around people that try to sexualize Lalafells in ways is definitely weird. The ERP stuff is 100% weird. And I do think that there are levels of weird. And the Lalafell weird is way worse than a fucking furry. Or a cat girl. It's 1,000 times worse.
All right, I think we would all agree with that. That's weird. But what Zeems is trying to say also in the video is, if you're not like that and you don't do that, then why in the fuck would you get so, you know, discordant to the point that you go to the forums and start making these connections between something that's being perceived as a baby's high chair, which I'm going to be honest, like, I don't really think it looks like one. Like, and I thought Arthur's take was pretty fucking funny when he said, like, the baby would fall out of that thing and break its neck. You never would have put a baby in that chair. Like, I get it, right? I've seen this compared to some people saying, well, what if they just would have given Ro a special furniture, a really tiny chair? Okay, that's fine.
They're mad because it's a fucked up thing to imply about people? Exactly, yeah. I mean, like, nobody, like, anybody, like, if somebody went and said that shit to me or, like, said anything like that to me, I'd be pissed off. Or actually, I don't even know if I'd be pissed off, but I would just try to delete them. I would be like, okay, I don't want to deal with you anymore. Fuck you. And that's it. I don't want to talk to you, period. I think that's totally fair. Like, if somebody said this to you in real life, like, I would say fuck off.
But when the interpretation is more linked to weird child behavior,
Yeah.
I think obviously that's a little different than putting a Ro on a small stool. The equivalent of that would be putting a Lala in a really big chair, one that's obviously oversized for it and doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, sure.
Right? But the thing more so is, to get back to what I was saying, is that I understand, you know, that there is the part of, like, why in the fuck, like, would you even let this weird shit bother you? Zeems also says in the video, like, they're childlike, they look like kids. And he's not, you know what, he's not wrong. I mean, in the game description, they are referred to as childlike. They're like chibis, essentially.
Yes.
And I'm not big into anime and all that shit. I don't know all the terms and everything, but I have been informed that chibi, you know, they're comic relief characters.
They're kids. They look like kids. Like, why are we even having this conversation? I feel like everybody is staring at an apple, and there's 3 people arguing about whether it's a lemon, an orange, or a pear. It's a fucking apple. Just, can we just, it's just, like, what are we doing?
They're often childlike, and they're goofy and they're weird, and they, you know, have usually kind of out there personalities and stuff. That's what they're for. And that chibis are not inherently sexualized. And that there are people who do that, which is fucking weird. Okay? And let's also not make the mistake of, like, being like, nah, that there's no Lala players out there that do weird shit.
Absolutely.
Okay? Straight up. There is. And that, I think, is the root part of what Zeem...
It's like in WoW. Most people that play Worgen aren't furries. But I would argue that most people that are furries probably play Worgen.
Xenos was trying to say, and if I'm wrong, then my bad. This is another misinterpretation then. But what I'm hearing now that I've gotten more time to process this and think about it, because that's how the human brain works, crazy. More time we get to think, the more we can dissect things, the point comes back to like, why do people make those remarks about Lala players in the first place? Is this, and honestly, if you look at this, like, who is actually complaining?
Well, the reason why they make those remarks is because there's people that make content about it on Twitter and stuff. It's out there. And there are people like that in real life. And so they see something like that in a game and it's like, warning, warning, warning. It's not complicated, right? Yeah, because it happens. That's why they're worried about it, obviously.
If it's the Lalafell player that goes to the forum and they put, they put these forum posts, they're kind of outraged about what's going on. It's like, okay, well, you as the Lalafell player are the ones posting about this. Was there a bunch of forum posts from non-Lalafell players saying like, look, like the Lalafell pedos got their chair? If there was, that's fucked up.
No, it's not.
But if that's not the case, then it's like, okay, why are we here? Like, why are you perceiving it that way? And I think that's what he was trying to say. Also, Xenosis Vex is a hard ass, okay? It's literally just how he is, right?
It's true.
He's stubborn. I'm stubborn. He said in his stream he doesn't respect me. That's fine. He doesn't respect my opinion. That's fine. It doesn't matter to me. I do respect his opinion, even if I disagree with him and I got angry at him.
This is about a chair.
And I'm gonna say I said I made some insults that I shouldn't have. I get mad, bro. You guys fucking know.
I think that there's never been a time that I've gotten emotional on stream that was good. Never. Any time that I've been emotional or upset about anything has been bad.
In this shit, I shouldn't have gone probably so hard, but at the same time,
never good.
It just pisses me off to see. It came across.
Because if people can see you're getting emotional about something, they'll try to push your buttons because it gives them a sense of power. It's like if they see you're sad about something, they'll try to make you more sad about it. If they see that you're mad about something, they'll try to make you more mad about it. It's because it gives them power over the person. Absolutely. It's trolling. Yes, there you go.
To me is just fucking super insensitive and kind of just disregarding the people's feelings.
Someone says also, apologies, I'm going to go back. Someone says bad for you, good for the audience. Totally disagree. I actually think content like this is super corrosive and very bad. And I don't see anything good that ever comes out of things like this. It's very bad content. And the reason also why it's bad content is because not only is it just elaborate, sure, whenever you cultivate a community of people that don't like you, this is going to create a hostile community of people because they are bound together because they don't like something or they like seeing somebody unhappy or mad. And what happens whenever you have a community like that is that they alienate people who actually enjoy the content and want to watch the stream just honestly and just, hey, I want to tune in and see what this is. And those people come in and they see an entire chat shitting on someone and they're like, yeah, you know what? Fuck this guy. This guy's a fucking asshole. I hate him. And they're watching it on mute. They have no idea. But it's just people are gonna just go in on that. And there are communities that have like Quinn, E-Rob, etc. And I'm not really talking about those because it's mainly like banter and stuff like that. I'm talking more things that happen to Pyro. I mean, people have had this happen to me, like Wings of Redemption, any of these like people that like get mad on the internet a lot. Yeah, I mean, it happened to Wreckful. Yeah, it happened to Wreckful back in the day, too. And one of the best ways to deal with it is to just completely cut these people off. Like, that's why I have a very strong policy where, like, if somebody is rude to me or somebody is an asshole to me, I just instantaneously ban them. Now, if I know they're joking around, that's not a big deal. But if I have to fall out on one side of the fence or another, you're out of the fucking chat. Because I've already dealt with that stuff before whenever I was like younger doing streaming. And it was very unpleasant. I didn't like it because I felt like I was attracting an audience of people who didn't like me. And why would you want to do that? It's not beneficial for you. It's not good for your career. And I think also the worst part about it is that it is not good in the long term. Because in the long term, it will attract more people that don't like you and alienate more people who do. That's why it's bad. And I've seen it happen to content creators in the past.
At the same time, it just pisses me off to see. It just it came across to me as just fucking super insensitive and kind of just disregarding the people's feelings. But he is just extremely blunt. This whole situation, I think, is blown out of proportion. I got probably a little too upset about it, I would say. Yeah. I do not hate Zeems. This is just fucking stupid. This is stupid. And now that I've had more time to think about it, I just see that it's even more fucking stupid. Because here I am, trying to be fucking sensitive to the people, to people who are being lumped in with people who do weird fucking shit, while at the same time, now there's eyes on everybody, and we gotta fucking turn around and go, well, wait a second, why is this even being framed this way? Like, why is this weird? Why is the North American audience taking chibi, cutesy, childlike characters and making it about sexualization? Like, why is...
Because other people in the community do that. That's why. It's just that simple. There's no fucking complexity here at all.
It even going that route in the first place? And once again, it's
and also culturally, people here think it's fucking weird. Like, I'll be honest. I wish that there weren't childlike characters in games that you can have skimpy outfits in. I wish you just couldn't do that. You can have the character, but there are no ways to do this in any context whatsoever. Yeah, it makes me uncomfortable. I think it's weird. I think a lot of people here think the same thing. That doesn't mean that the people that do it are weird. I have friends that play Lalafell, so they're not weird. The fuck? No. But I would prefer if they couldn't wear bikinis, for example. It would just be better. I don't know. This is not about the group of people. This is about what makes me uncomfortable on a personal level.
Because there are fucking weirdos out there who are into that. Period. Xenos also made some fucking jokes in his stream that I just don't think I got, right? Like the guy that fucking made the comment and he was like, mod him, sub him, gift him. Like, I don't watch the stream enough, I guess, to understand the humor. So if I'm taking that humor out of context and misinterpreting that, that's just my bad. You know what I mean? Yeah. If that's all jokes, then why, that's an L for me. If Zeems doesn't watch this, that's fine. But I just wanted to put this out there to make it clear my perspective. I do not give a fuck if someone is bigger than me. It's about what I believe in. And it's about, in some cases, protecting people that are wrongfully being grouped in. And that's what I was trying to do. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Bye. Also, Arthurs, when the fuck are we doing DSR? Blown out.
I don't know. I mean, like, Xeno... I thought Xeno said this guy, like, wasn't going to be able to clear it. Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, so, listen, here's how I see this. I think that Pyro is in a position where there are a lot of people who don't like him. There are a lot of people who don't like what Pyro says. Comments are disabled, yeah. And likes are disabled, too. They don't like what Pyro says, and because they don't like what he says and they don't like him on a personal level, they will take what he says and they will interpret it in the most... what's the word for it? The least charitable way. So anything that he says, they're going to find a way to turn that into a bad thing. He's unlikable. No, if you think that he's unlikable, that's fine. But whenever you go out of your way to express the fact that you think that he's unlikable, then I think that's weird. Does that make sense? It's almost always disingenuous. Yes, you assume the worst, and that way because you don't like him. Let's see if I can look at this. And he was very aggressive, making insults about Xeno's appearance. And he was wrong for all of that. 100%. Yes, he's wrong for all that. That's bad. You shouldn't do that. And absolutely, I think the only time that you should be able to make fun of the way somebody looks is if they do the same thing to you. Like, in my opinion, I'll never call somebody stupid or ugly or fat or something. But if they say something to me, oh, you're going to fucking hear it. This is always my perspective on things. It makes himself an easy target for them, unfortunately. That's right, because there's a lot of people, again... People on the internet view somebody like Pyro, and this is kind of like, I made a video about this, I talked about it before, is that you have to treat yourself and your feelings and your expressions and everything about it, you have to treat all of it as if it is just content. And the moment that you become personally invested in the outcome of something and people believing you is the moment that you give other people control over you. Does that make sense? So, for example, if you try to make people think a certain thing, what you're really saying is that you are in control of my own destiny. You are in control because you are the person who can determine whether I am valid or not. Where the truth is that you just do what you want to do, and they don't have anything to do about it. If he was calling himself predators, isn't he opening himself up similarly to petty comments? I don't know if he was saying that either. He's unfortunately easy falls into the brain off emotional stage of giving him ammunition. I have that happen too with myself. And as I've said, I have never had a moment in I can't say my life, but in video games where being emotional on stream and doing something because I was mad, sad, or anything like that has ever been good for me. And in fact, they haven't even been neutrals. They have been super fucking negatives. Super negatives. So yeah, it's always bad. And it's always bad to comment on things whenever you're upset, etc. Fortunate enough to have a likable personality. Well, to me, like, there are people that dislike me. There are a lot of people who dislike me. And the way that I address it is I put out my side of things. And if they don't agree, that's their problem. And in a lot of cases, I don't even care. Like, I've had plenty of times. So it's not that I do care. I wish it wasn't happening. But I don't care enough to change what I'm doing. Does that make sense? So I don't like it. I wish it wouldn't happen. But if it does happen, that's not going to stop me from doing it again. Really, part of the life about you is if you're right, you just move on with your life. Yeah, I don't want to sit around and talk about it forever. You know, that's about it. Call them bitches around these parts. Sometimes it is. Yeah, I don't know. You're not responsible for other people's version of you? Exactly. Doesn't care enough to bring attention to it? Yeah, and that's my advice, is that any time that you bring attention to drama or anything like that, you make it worse. And the best way to deal with drama is to just ignore it. Any drama that happens goes away. And the people that hold on to that drama and get mad about it 6 months after the fact, these people were never going to like you. That you are never going to win them over. You're never going to say the thing that brings them over to your side. It's never going to happen. And if it ever does happen, it's going to be because that you ignored it. That's my advice. If you engage in drama, it ends up creating a shitty narrative that you end up trying to fight against, and it does more harm than good. Yes, because people realize that it gets to you because people are saying something, and they will misinterpret something just to make you mad. They know they're wrong, but there's no consequence for them being wrong. That's it. People want to be liked? Yeah, I think people do. I think also a lot of content creators want to be liked. You know, for the obvious reason that, you know, if you're liked, maybe more people will watch your content, give you money. But also the other reason is just simply because people like being liked. It's not that simple, or it's not that complicated. Pyro gets mad and goes into angry rants too much. That's why people dislike him. Yeah, but like, again, if you're disliking somebody and you're going out of your way to express that a lot, I think that's a separate problem. People want you there for your own entertainment. Exactly. And I think that's the main thing.